The Cycle of Reincarnation. Formation of consciousness and reincarnation. Through judgment, reflection, and thought, your formation takes place, a process that generates the levels of consciousness linked to the self. This process determines the choice regarding on whose behalf one incarnates. All existing knowledge is a manifestation of levels of consciousness. We possess levels of consciousness connected to the memory of feelings and to memory consciousness, which functions as a material archive. Consciousness and knowledge. Knowledge in the world is a pre-existence of the invisible. It does not serve degenerative ends, but exists so that consciousness in the invisible may know what it must not do and what it must not believe in. For example, concepts such as the atom, which is a falsification of reality. Experience and knowledge in the world serve the elevation of the person. Until one becomes aware of an error, one is not guilty. The concept of generating or degenerating in the visible world depends on one's level of knowledge, sensitivity, intelligence, wisdom, and complicity. Existence in the invisible dimension. In the invisible dimension, consciousnesses are omnipresent and equal to God. They see everything that happens in the world, perceive all people simultaneously, and receive every thought of incarnated beings. The capacity to receive all thoughts does not belong to us, but is a faculty generated by the life generator. When we incarnate, we lose this capacity. How consciousness is formed. Everything that exists is stored in the levels of consciousness. The formation of consciousness varies according to its origin. Life generators, allies, or those who are born on their own. These categories have different purposes and determine character, the level of feelings and sensitivity. Even intelligence, memory, physical appearance, and abilities are chosen by the consciousness, the soul, before reincarnation. This happens with the agreement of the life generator, to avoid becoming a tool of God. God Satan chooses his allies based on their training, intelligence, abilities, and levels of consciousness useful to his project. He also decides their physical appearance, always in agreement with the choices made by the consciousness before reincarnation. Those who are born on their own autonomously decide their physical form, again based on pre-reincarnation choices. Reincarnation and the formation of the self. All of this is connected to the cycle of reincarnation of the self-consciousness, a process that guides the growth and elevation of individuals. The purpose of God Satan and the life generator. The purpose of God Satan is to turn you into a tool. If you are a life generator, you use thoughts through resonance, researching consciousness, as a means to elevate yourself. Otherwise, without this elevation, thoughts degenerate. God Satan should be the tool. He is the bearer of cultures, history, religions, philosophy, science, DNA, GMOs, technologies, muses, and more. With this formation, you become the tool, giving rise to the network, the system of mental control. This entity has the power to act upon people, and through them upon matter, manipulating what is possible. In this dimension, nothing is created without destroying something else, except what nature provides. God Satan shapes people into believing that everything happens in the brain, as if it were a neural network. If the life generator is present, God Satan remains limited and can only transmit through a receiving channel. But those who have lost union with the life generator fall under his direct influence. God Satan acts as both receiver and transmitter, entering the self. In this way, he creates new levels of consciousness and induces people to believe in them, leading them to accept the falsification of reality and preventing them from reaching their true levels of consciousness. Reincarnation and the life generator. The bridge between the pre-existence and here. When incarnation occurs, a bridge is formed that opens a portal between the beyond invisible dimension and the here visible dimension. This process arises from the invisible seat of the mind, the self-consciousness, which manifests through the thalamus, a servile organ. The thalamus represents the link between the invisible and the visible, and is referred to by various names: self, spirit, soul, heart, psyche, and mind. When God Satan acts, he does so from the invisible, not through the brain, which is merely a servile organ. The human being becomes a project and a tool within a network and system of mental control. Unawareness of this process does not justify incarnating for God, Satan, or for oneself. Losing connection with the life generator never happens unconsciously. The process of reincarnation and choice of reincarnation. This principle is valid only once. When one chooses to reincarnate, becoming a person from one's own generative force, an animal mammal is generated, as if it were a non-carnal child. Carnal children, on the other hand, are generated by the union of man and woman, and at the cutting of the umbilical cord, a consciousness from the invisible enters the body. If they incarnate for the life generator, they transmit nature. If they are born on their own, they may reincarnate in the first available body or choose their destiny with other consciousnesses. If they ally with God, Satan, they incarnate wherever he decides. When one reincarnates for God, Satan, or on their own and, after death, wishes to reincarnate for the life generator, they must turn to a consciousness generated by the life generator. Those who reincarnate for the life generator can choose to remain alive as long as they generate nature, or even after ceasing to transmit it. However, if God, Satan, takes control, a process of degeneration begins, leading them to transmit his project, contributing to the falsification of reality. Alternatively, one may remain alive only until generating nature ends. In this case, death occurs without degenerating, and in the next reincarnation, one can choose to remain alive even without transmitting nature anymore. This principle applies both to those incarnated by will of the life generator and to those previously incarnated for God, Satan, or on their own, but who later reincarnate for the life generator. This concept assumes the value of generative consciousness levels, especially in sentimental relationships, between such consciousnesses and anyone they connect with. Union between consciousnesses and family reincarnation. Those in the beyond who have chosen to be companions in the here can reunite only if they were incarnated for the life generator. Life generators can choose whose children to become, by agreement. Who will become their children? Whether to reincarnate according to feelings, e.g. a grandfather becoming a son, children who die and return to the same family. Whether to let others incarnate as their children, but never for God, Satan. Those who reincarnate on their own may do so at the first cutting of the umbilical cord of those who left reincarnation of children free and may become children of life, generators who left the choice free, children of life generators by agreement, children of others born on their own, or be born into bodies of people previously incarnated for God, Satan, and later for the life generator. Everything depends on the choice. Allies of God, Satan cannot choose their companions and are born into the bodies of parents previously reincarnated for God, Satan. Choices of union and procreation. Some in the invisible choose not to have children, or God, Satan causes sterility. In some cases, however, they change their mind in the here and resort to other methods. The union between male and female chosen in the pre-existence can materialize in the here only if incarnated for the life generator. Possible scenarios: permanent union, remaining companions for life as life generators. Separation, which can occur if one ceases to be a life generator. Reincarnation without union. Some may choose not to have a companion. If two people incarnated for the life generator were companions and after death wished to reunite, they may do so according to the life generator's rules. Even those who were not life generators but wish to reunite with their companion may succeed only by reincarnating for the life generator. Elevation or degeneration through reincarnation. The type of reincarnation and the union between souls influences their path of elevation. Those who reincarnate for the life generator may elevate. Those who reincarnate for themselves or for God, Satan, may degenerate. Thus, the process of reincarnation and union serves to determine the destiny of every consciousness, depending on the choices made in the here and the beyond. False identities and reincarnation. True identity is one of consciousness, not ethnicity. Reincarnation means that every soul may have been Jewish, Nazi, Muslim, or atheist in different cycles. Defending ethnicity means defending programming. We are not races or religions, but consciousnesses making experiences. Reincarnation and false identity of lineage. To anyone, Jews, Muslims, Christians, or of any ethnicity who may feel touched, criticized, or offended by these contents, a simple truth must be offered. We are not what we believe we are. Reincarnation is the hidden key behind every identity. In this life cycle, you may incarnate as a Jew, but have been a Nazi in the past. Or the reverse, today Muslim, yesterday Christian, today atheist, yesterday mystic, today persecuted, yesterday persecutor. This is why the concept of lineage is meaningless. We are not a bloodline. We are consciousnesses passing through bodies, roles, religions, and cultures. What changes is the field we are projected into and the consciousness experience we are undergoing. The falsehood of ethnicity. Defending ethnic, religious, or historical identity as absolute truth is one of the great deceptions of the cycle. There are no true Jews or true Muslims. There are no superior or inferior races. There are only incarnated consciousnesses in a reality programmed to divide, classify, and polarize. The very concept of a chosen people loses meaning once we understand that we are all, in turn, every people. Every cycle, every incarnation is an opportunity for understanding and overcoming, not a banner to defend. True identity is not in lineage, but in consciousness. When we understand this, we are no longer offended, but begin to remember. If your identity divides you from others, it is not who you are. It is what you have been programmed to believe.